Right, what we're going to do is we're going to change the pivot bolts on a Orange Patriot. It's exactly the same for pretty much all the Oranges. Say ST4's a bit different. Anything with a linkage, obviously, a little bit different, but generally speaking, anything with this swing arm that looks like that, this is what we're going to sort out today. Okay? Right, okay. Well, if I can find all my bloody tools, hang on a minute. Laughing. We need this as well. Okay, right. First job, obviously, is to take off the bearing covers. Yeah. Obviously, what we've done is we've disengaged the shock at the swing arm end, so that no longer comes into play. Just take this out of this side. Not very easy with one arm, but that's how it looks. Obviously, you've got your pivot bolt there. Yeah, your pin there, and there's your bearing around there, and that's what we're taking out there. And we're going to replace that. This one is knackered. It's wobbling about all over the show, so we're gonna change that. Okay. Right, now what we want to do now is these bolts. The last bolts that I took out were I think they're 5x16, M5x16. Yeah, well these ones are an M6x45. I use titanium bolts on all mine. In here. Pop it in there. You know what I'm doing. I use titanium bolts on all mine. Oh shit. What we want to do is just loosen them up. Yeah, titanium bolts and everything. What we want to do is, now that all that's loose, what we want to do is we want to make sure, obviously, this swing arm moves from side to side. Yeah? So what we want to do is, we want to just cover that up, get a nylon hammer, and give it a knock to one side. Yeah? Gives it a knock to one side. Right, now, that, you see it's pushed this bearing, the whole swing arm has moved back now, yeah? And that bearing is level with the edge of this. Now we're just giving it a little bit of a knock. Yeah? So what we want to do is now we want to tighten this up. Tighten this back up. Put it back in there. Yeah. I should have really sort of left them so far out like that. Right, now get the nylon hammer and the rag on the opposite side, because the opposite side now looks like that. You see it's like right now deep in the socket. Now that bearing is now locked in position with this swing arm is over this side, so what you can actually do now is you can hit it from this side now that it's down in the socket, and it will pop the opposing bearing off. Huh? So what we'll do that now. And it's exactly the same way with the opposite side. with this side. When we get that bearing off. Oh, right now that bearing has now moved. Yeah? Right now we go around this way. This bearing has stayed inside the socket, but it's moved off the pivot. Yeah? Yeah, can you see that? Right, okay. So now let's get that off there. Loosen this. So within theory, when I take this bolt straight out, I can just prise the rest of the bearing out. Yeah? Dead easy. Dead easy. 6x45. Oh, that's actually full of water. It's not supposed to happen. But I did that. Yeah. Use your camelback, eh? Take that little. Right, I'll show you this. Right, well, we've got a little wedge here. Yeah, a little wedgie. So we take that out. Pop that to one side. And now, in theory, I should be able to get a pair of a screwdriver in there and just tweeze it out. So let me just get I'll get the wires on it. Sod it, it's a plier job. So we'll get that. Just tweak. It's supposed to come out that. Hang on. It will do. Yes. There we go. Very well. Yeah. It's at that point. We get the fresh bearings, the new ones, nice stainless steel ones. It's nice. They are reference number is a 6902. Is it 6902? 6902. 6903. Sorry, 6903. Yeah. 2 RS, 2 rubber seals. Obviously get the stainless steel ones, but they're way better, the stainless steel. So what we do is clean it up a little bit. The old grease tends to dry out a little, and I try and use a general purpose grease, or if I can get hold of it, a nice silicon based grease, because silicon based grease tends to hold out water a lot better than most of the greases, and I tend to use that instead rather than a general purpose grease. I'm just using a general purpose grease. At this moment. What we do is we grease the inside edge, the outside edge of the what's it there. Makes life a lot easier. Yeah. That's the thing with all bike parts. Although grease is, you need to grease everything on a bike within reason. So, you've got to remember that grease can actually harbour all manner of nastiness if you're too exuberant with the stuff. Now what I tend to do is, I tend to get it to that stage, yeah? I tend to get it to that stage, and in order to get the bearing back in, what I do is, it's popping ever so proud out. You'll probably be able to see it there, it's just stuck out a little bit, bearing. So what I tend to do is, blob of grease on the outside, as per usual. don't ever use copper grease on bearings. Copper grease is not the material, not the grease to use on a bearing. It just does. It's no good whatsoever. It's you'll end up damaging the bearing. So right, there we go. Right, now we know this one's going to be seated properly. If we just pop it back using the bearing cover. Tweak it up, laughing. There we go. Right, now, opposite side. Remember, that side's tight. Loosen this off again. Oh, no, this one was already loose. So what we need to do now, to push that all the way over. And you see now we're level again. Yeah, we're level with the outside again. We've got that play in the swing arm. That's going to bring that bearing off when I tighten this here. And when I hit it from the other side, it's gonna pull that off. Okay. You can use a rubber mallet. By all means, use a rubber mallet. I just got a nylon hammer, that's all. Once again, this side. That now has disappeared. Yeah, so that's now got a big socket. I'll show you this way. You see how it's further over this side, over this way, rather than there. See, you get the gist. There we go. All around. Right, now remember, loose this side, tighten this side up close. Yeah. Knocking stick. The persuader. Knock it. There we go. It's moved. Yeah. Right, so in theory, now that side should have popped off. Yes, it has. It's come right off that one. Nice. Nice indeed. Loosen that. Take it right out. All the way out. Here's something for you. You know I was saying titanium bolts. I use titanium bolts on everything. What I do, it saves a lot of weight, but there are problems with titanium. It's a common misconception that titanium's stronger than steel. It's not. Weight for weight, it's stronger, yeah, but size for size, it's only equal. Titanium has some weird habits, like things like stretching, and it seizes itself quite badly. So what I tend to do, well, what you've got to do is you've got to put grease on all of your titanium bearings, screws, everything. If you're going to do that, then titanium needs to be greased. And that's where your copper grease comes in. Copper grease is great for that. So, here we go. Wires in again. Wiggle it. Should come out. Maybe. Yeah, it's coming. Go that's yeah, that's oh, that's knackered. Oh, that's got loads of plate in it. Shan't be using that one again. You shouldn't really use any of them again anyway. So. Blob of grease, inside edge, yeah? There we go. You don't have to use a lot. Grease, like I say, it dries out. Grease there. Yeah, grease dries out, and you'll find if you use like silicone grease, like I say, it tends not to dry out. It keeps water out as well, very, very well. What you got there? Cover, like that, yeah. Back in the hole, in the thread, and that will now force it into position again. Beautifully, all the way back. Right, now remember we tightened up that side, the opposite side, yeah? So what we do now, come back round this side. Oh, no, that was wrong. I was just being a bit stupid. Yeah, so she's, I'm sure you'll work it out. What we want to do now, clean up all this excess water and debris and all that crap. Right, now, what we want to do now is, obviously this moves from side to side, this swing arm, see? Moving. So what we want to do is we want to find its sweet spot, the centre. God. No, tap it again. Oh, looks good. Oh, no, a little bit further. So we've got both bearings in position and nice and tight. Yeah, there we go. And a slight knock. Just ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. Yes. Right now, say copper grease. Copper grease. Yeah. On the bolt. Wedge. Yeah. Clean that up. Yeah, nice and clean. Touch of grease. That's all it needs. Tiny little bit of grease there. Copper grease on the bolt. slip that back in. I hope if I've got it in the right bloody way. There we go. Don't see that. There we go, so we'll put that wedge back in. That wedge. Put that in there, yeah. We've centralised the swing arm. Yeah. Okay. We're going to do exactly the same on that side. Yeah. And the job's a good one. What we'll do is see in there. There it is. What we'll do is, when it's all tightened up and whatnot, I'll wipe away all the excess grease. And then it won't harbour any muck. That's the problem with grease, it gets too mucky. You see what's happening here is I put grease on all the points, yeah? Because I've tightened that up now, it's squeezed all the excess grease out, and we need to get rid of that. Because we don't want it to sort of keep muck there, do we? So it's going to have to be that. That's how we're going to do it. We're just going to wipe it all down. But that, my friends, is a bearing change on a swing arm of an Orange bike. Still got this wedge to put in the other side. But that is essentially it. Thank you.